I'm sitting in my truck in the parking lot of a law office in Raleigh, North Carolina, holding an envelope that might unravel my entire life. The return address says Morrison and Associates, Estate Planning. I don't know anyone who passed away. I don't know why a lawyer would be writing to me. But my hands won't stop shaking. 3 days ago, this envelope showed up at my apartment. No forwarding, no explanation, just my name, Sergeant Daniel Cross, U.S. Army, typed across the front. I've been deployed twice to Afghanistan, spent 8 months in Iraq, and I've never been scared to open a piece of mail before. But I am now. The thing about military life is you get used to certainty. You know your orders. You know your chain of command. You know who you are and where you came from. My dad was a factory worker in Ohio. My mom taught 3rd grade. They raised me in a small house with a big yard, and when I turned 18, I enlisted because it felt right. That's who I am. Or at least, that's who I thought I was. I tear open the envelope. Inside is a single letter, typed on professional letterhead. The first line makes my stomach drop. Dear Mr. Cross, or rather, Dear Michael Breslin. I read it 3 times, then 4. Then I just sit there, engine off, staring at words that don't make sense. According to this letter, my name isn't Daniel Cross, it's Michael Breslin. My parents, Tom and Linda Cross, aren't my biological parents. They're protection officers who were assigned to raise me under new identities. Everything about my childhood, my life, my history was constructed by the U.S. Marshals Service's Witness Protection Program. I was placed in protection at 6 months old. The letter says my biological father is someone I've never met, someone who made enemies, someone who needed to hide his infant son to keep him alive. It says that my father recently passed away, and in his will, he left instructions for me to be contacted. It says I have a right to know the truth. The lawyer's name is at the bottom, Harold Morrison. There's a phone number, an invitation to call and discuss my case whenever I'm ready. I'm not ready. I don't think I'll ever be ready. But I call anyway. The law office is exactly what you would expect. Mahogany furniture, leather chairs, walls lined with legal books that nobody actually reads anymore. Harold Morrison is maybe 70, with silver hair and reading glasses perched on his nose. He stands when I walk in, extends a hand. Mr. Cross, or should I say Mr. Breslin? Cross. It's the only name I've ever known. He nods, gestures to a chair. I sit. He sits. There's a file on his desk, thick and worn, like it's been opened and reopened 100 times over the years. I imagine this has been quite a shock. That's one word for it. He opens the file, flips through a few pages. I can see photographs clipped inside, black and white surveillance photos, documents with government seals, handwritten notes and margins. Your biological father's name was Lieutenant General Richard Breslin. Does that name mean anything to you? I shake my head. Should it? General Breslin was a high-ranking officer in military intelligence. He served for 32 years, most of that time in positions that required the highest security clearances. He was involved in operations that never made the news, the kind of work that creates enemies. Morrison slides a photograph across the desk. It shows a man in uniform, maybe mid-40s, standing in front of an American flag. Strong jaw, serious eyes. There's something familiar about the shape of his face, but I can't place it. This was taken in 2001, around the time you were born. I pick up the photo, study it. Why did he give me up? He didn't want to. According to his file, he fought the decision for months, but threats were made against you, credible threats. The people your father worked against, foreign agents, domestic extremists, organized crime with international reach, they learned about your existence. You became leverage. The word sits heavy in the room. Leverage. So he faked my elimination, I say. Morrison nods. A car accident was staged. Records were falsified. To anyone looking, Richard Breslin's infant son passed away along with his mother in that accident. In reality, you and your mother were placed in witness protection, separately. Different locations, different identities. My mother. I lean forward. Where is she? Morrison's expression softens. I'm sorry. She passed away 8 years ago. Cancer. She never knew your father had planned to reveal the truth. That was his decision alone, made shortly before his passing. I sit back, processing. So, Linda Cross, the woman who raised me, who packed my lunches and came to my baseball games, isn't my mother. My actual mother is gone, and the man who gave me away is also gone. I'm holding pieces of a life that doesn't exist anymore. Why now? I ask. Why tell me after he's gone? Morrison reaches into the file, pulls out an envelope. This one is different, personal, handwritten. My name is on the front. Not Daniel Cross, Michael Breslin. He wrote you a letter. He wanted you to have it only after his passing, when the threat was neutralized. Neutralized? Read the letter, Morrison says. It explains everything. I don't read it in the office. I take it back to my truck, drive to a park near the river, and sit on a bench overlooking the water. The envelope feels heavier than it should. When I finally open it, the handwriting is neat, deliberate. Military precision even in his letters. Michael, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And you're probably angry. You have every right to be. I need you to understand something. When you were born, I thought I could have both. A career serving my country and a family to come home to. Your mother and I were happy. We had plans. Then I made enemies, the kind that don't forget. In 2002, I was overseeing an operation that dismantled a trafficking network with ties to 3 countries. We arrested 47 people, seized weapons, shut down routes. It was good work, important work. But we missed someone, a man named Viktor Malashenko. Malashenko ran the operation from overseas. When we hit his network, he lost everything: money, power, reputation. He swore revenge, not against me directly, against what I loved. The intelligence came through on a Tuesday. Malashenko had learned about you and your mother. He had people watching your daycare, your mother's route to work. He was patient. He was going to wait until you were older, until you'd remember, until losing you would destroy me completely. I had 2 choices: spend my life protecting you in fear, or make you disappear so completely that no one could find you. I chose the latter. The accident was real enough. Car, fire, closed caskets. Your mother fought me on this. She wanted to keep you close, protection detail and all. But I couldn't risk it. I couldn't risk you. So I split you up. Different identities, different cities. I set up handlers, financial support through untraceable channels, monitoring that even you wouldn't know about. I watched you grow up from a distance, Michael. Every school photo, every report card, every scraped knee and Little League game. I watched you enlist, watched you deploy, watched you become the kind of man I'd hoped you'd be. I couldn't be your father, but I made sure you had one. Tom Cross is a good man, better than me probably. He raised you right. I'm telling you this now because Malashenko is gone. He passed away 3 months ago in a prison in Poland. Different charges, different crimes, but off the board. The others connected to him are dead or serving life sentences. The threat is over. You're safe now. You always were, even when you didn't know it. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I'm sorry you couldn't know me. But I'm not sorry for keeping you alive. There's money in a trust fund. Morrison has the details. Use it however you want. Go to school, buy a house, invest it. It's yours. And Michael, Daniel, whoever you choose to be, live the life I couldn't give you. Live it well. Your father, Richard Breslin. I read the letter twice. Then I folded carefully and put it back in the envelope. The sun is setting over the river, casting long shadows across the water. Families are packing up their picnic blankets. Kids are being called back to cars. Normal people living normal lives. I take out my phone, scroll to mom and dad in my contacts. Their number. The people who raised me. The people who've been lying to me my entire life. I almost call. My thumb hovers over the screen. Then I put the phone away. Before I tell you what I decided to do next, if you're hooked on this story, hit that like button and subscribe. There are dozens more voices like mine here. And drop a comment with your country. I'm curious where all of you are listening from. I spend the next week trying to keep my head straight. I go to work. I'm stationed at Fort Bragg doing training rotations while I figure out my next move in the Army. I lift weights, I run, I do everything I normally do. But nothing feels normal anymore. My name is a lie. My childhood is a lie. Every photo in my parents' house is a staged piece of a fabricated life. I keep thinking about little things. How my dad never talked about his own childhood. How we never visited extended family because we're not close with them. How my mom always seemed a little on edge when strangers asked questions about me. I thought she was just protective. Turns out, she was protecting a secret.
On Friday, I drive to Ohio. It takes 9 hours. I don't call ahead. I just show up at the house where I grew up. A modest 2-story with a detached garage and a maple tree in the front yard. The same house where I learned to ride a bike, where I had birthday parties, where my dad taught me to change the oil in a car. I knock on the door. My mom answers, Linda Cross. She's in her 60s now. Hair mostly gray, wearing the same reading glasses she's had since I was in high school. Her face lights up when she sees me. "Danny, what are you doing here? Why didn't you call?" I don't smile. "Can I come in?" She notices the expression on my face, the tension in my shoulders. Her smile fades. "Of course, come in." My dad's in the living room, watching a baseball game. Tom Cross. Salt and pepper beard, flannel shirt, the same worn-out recliner he's had for 20 years. He stands when he sees me. "Hey, kiddo, this is a surprise." I pulled the letter from my pocket, the one from Morrison. I set it on the coffee table between us. "Want to tell me who I really am?" The room goes silent. My dad looks at the letter, then at my mom. She's gone pale. "Danny," she starts. "Michael," I left him out. "That's my real name, right? Michael Breslin, son of Lieutenant General Richard Breslin, who's been watching me my entire life while I grew up thinking you were my parents." My dad's jaw tightens. He sits back down slowly like his legs won't hold him anymore. "You need to understand," he says. "We were doing our jobs." "Your jobs?" "We're U.S. Marshals, both of us. We were assigned to your case when you were 6 months old. We didn't just raise you, Danny. We protected you." My mom steps closer, hands wringing together. "It wasn't supposed to be like this. We weren't supposed to get attached, but you were just a baby, and 25 years is a long time. And we—" She stops. Her eyes are wet. "We love you," she says. "Whatever else is true, that's real. You're our son." I look at them both. These two people who've been my entire world, who taught me right from wrong, who came to my graduation from basic training, who sent care packages when I was deployed. How much of it was real? I ask. My dad rubs his face. The feelings were real. Everything we taught you was real, but the details, yeah, a lot of it was cover. We couldn't have you digging into our backgrounds, asking questions, so we built a story that held together. And you never thought I deserved to know? We wanted to tell you, my mom says, so many times, but it wasn't our call. The threat was still active. If you'd known, if you'd gone looking for answers, it could have exposed you. We couldn't risk it. Malashenko. Viktor Malashenko. That was the threat? My dad's eyes narrow. How much did Morrison tell you? Enough. That my real father dismantled a trafficking network? That Malashenko wanted revenge? That I was supposed to be leverage? It was more than that, my dad says. Malashenko had people everywhere. Law enforcement, military, government offices. He spent millions trying to find you. Every couple of years, something would come up. A lead, a tip, someone getting too close. We'd move you.
New school, new neighborhood, same house, same us. You probably don't even remember all the moves. I think back. We did move a lot. I always thought it was from my dad's factory work. Transfers, he'd say. Better opportunities. It was all protection protocol. Your father, my mom says carefully, Richard Breslin, he loved you, Danny. He called us every month to check on you. He sent money for your school clothes, your sports equipment. He couldn't be in your life, but he made sure you had a good one. A fake one, I say. A safe one, my dad corrects. And it worked. You're alive. You made it to adulthood. You served your country. The threat is gone. You're free now. Free. The word should feel good. It doesn't. I look around the living room, at the photos on the mantle. Me in my Little League uniform, me at prom, me in my army dress blues. At the furniture I've sat on 1,000 times. At these two people who've been my parents for 25 years. I don't know how to process this, I admit. My mom moves closer, puts a hand on my shoulder. You don't have to process it all at once. You can be angry. You can take time, but please, Danny, Michael, don't shut us out. We're still here. We're still your family. Are you? I look at her. Or are you just two marshals who finished an assignment? She flinches like I've hit her. My dad stands. That's not fair. Fair? I turn on him. You want to talk about fair? Nothing about this is fair. I've spent my entire life thinking I knew where I came from, who I was, and it turns out I'm just, what, a protection detail? A case file? You're our son, my dad says firmly. Badge or no badge, witness protection or not, you're our son. We raised you. We worried about you. We celebrated every success and hurt with every failure. That doesn't get erased just because we were doing our jobs when it started. I want to believe him. Part of me does believe him. But another part feels like I'm standing in a stranger's house, talking to people I don't really know. I leave without saying much else. I tell them I need time. They don't argue. My mom hugs me at the door, long and tight, the way she used to when I was deploying. Come back when you're ready, she says. I nod, but I don't know when that'll be. Now here's where everything changed. But real quick, if you're invested in how this ends, I'd genuinely appreciate a subscription. More soldiers' stories drop daily. Comment your country below. Always amazes me how far these reach. Back at Fort Bragg, I try to lose myself in routine. PT at 0500, training exercises, paperwork, beer with the guys on Friday night, normal soldier stuff. But I keep thinking about the letter, about Richard Breslin, about this man who gave me up to keep me safe. I start digging, not through official channels. I'm not stupid enough to run searches on military computers that might flag something. But I use public records, old news articles, military forums. Richard Breslin was everything Morrison said. High-ranking intelligence officer, multiple commendations, served in the Gulf War, Bosnia, early operations in Afghanistan. The guy was a legitimate hero, and he gave me up. I find his obituary. It's brief, clinical. Lieutenant General Richard Breslin, U.S. Army retired, passed away peacefully on March 14th. He is survived by colleagues and friends who remember his dedicated service. No mention of family. No mention of a son. Because officially, his son was gone in 2002. There's a photo attached to the obituary. It's the same man from the picture Morrison showed me, just older. Gray hair, deeper lines in his face, but the eyes are the same. I zoom in on those eyes, looking for something. Recognition, connection, I don't know. But all I see is a stranger. A stranger who watched me from the shadows for 25 years. It's Morrison who calls me next, a week after my visit home. Mr. Cross, I wanted to follow up. Have you had time to think about the trust fund? I haven't thought about the money at all, I say honestly. It's substantial, nearly $2 million. Your father was very careful with his savings, and he invested well. He wanted you to have options. $2 million. More money than I've ever imagined having. There's something else, Morrison says. A safe deposit box. Your father left instructions that you should have access to it. It's at a bank in Arlington, Virginia. The key is here at my office whenever you're ready. What's in the box? I don't know. Your father was very private about its contents. He only said that you'd understand when you saw it. I take leave. 3 weeks. I tell my CO I need to handle family matters. That's not exactly a lie. I drive to Raleigh, pick up the key from Morrison, then drive north to Arlington. The bank is in a quiet part of town, one of those old institutions that's been around since the 50s. The safe deposit box is in the vault. A bank employee leads me to a private room, sets the long metal box on the table, and leaves me alone. I open it. Inside are files, dozens of them, each labeled with a year, starting with 2002. I open the first one. It's surveillance photos of me, a baby in a stroller, my mom, Linda Cross, pushing me through a park, my dad watching from a nearby bench. Notes are written in the margins. Michael's first tooth came in. Linda says he's sleeping through the night now. I flip to the next page. More photos. Me as a toddler at a playground. Someone's written, he loves the swings, laughs every time. I opened another file. 2005. Photos of me starting kindergarten. A report from my teacher clipped inside. Daniel is a bright, curious student who works well with others. Underneath, in Richard Breslin's handwriting, he got my curiosity. Thank God he got her kindness. I open another, and another. Every year of my life is documented. School photos, report cards, sports certificates, photocopies of birthday cards I'd sent to Grandma and Grandpa Cross, who apparently didn't exist, notes about scraped knees, lost teeth, first crushes, arguments with friends. My father had been watching, not just protecting, watching. Learning who I was from a distance, one file is thicker than the others. 2019, the year I deployed to Afghanistan. Inside are maps, intelligence reports, briefings on enemy activity in Kandahar province where my unit was stationed. Notes in the margins reference my platoon's movements, our patrol routes, threat assessments. One note, written in red ink. Michael's convoy will pass through checkpoint Delta on the 15th. Intelligence suggests possible IED activity in the area. Cannot intervene directly without exposing surveillance. Have contacted unit command through back channels with anonymous tip. I remember that day, March 15th, 2019. We were supposed to take Highway 1 through a particular stretch of road. At the last minute, our LT got a call from battalion. Change of route. Take the northern passage instead. We thought it was random, precautionary. 3 hours later, an IED went off on the route we were supposed to take. An Afghan police convoy hit it instead. 4 men were gone. My father had saved my life from halfway around the world. I sit in that bank room for 2 hours, going through every file, every photo, every note, building a picture of a man I never knew who knew everything about me. At the bottom of the box is one last envelope. My name is on it. Just Michael. I open it. Michael, if you've made it this far, you've seen the files. You know I was watching. I'm sorry if that feels invasive. I'm sorry if it feels like a violation. But I needed to know you were okay. I needed to know that the choice I made, giving you up, was the right one. Was it? I've asked myself that question 10,000 times. Some days I think yes. You're alive, you're thriving, you're becoming someone I'm proud of. Other days I think no. What kind of father gives up his son? What kind of man watches from the shadows instead of standing in the light? The truth is, I don't know. I made the best choice I could with the information I had, and I've lived with the weight of that choice every single day since. But here's what I do know. You turned out better than I could have hoped.
You're brave, you're honorable, you serve your country the way I tried to, and you do it without the ghosts I carried. Tom and Linda Cross are good people, the best. They took an assignment and turned it into a life. They loved you when I couldn't. Don't punish them for doing what I asked them to do. And Michael, if you're angry at me, that's okay. I'm not here to defend myself. I'm gone. You don't owe me forgiveness or understanding. You don't owe me anything. But I owed you the truth. So here it is. I loved you. From the moment you were born until the moment I took my last breath, I loved you. And everything I did, every choice, every sacrifice, was to give you a chance at a life without fear. I hope I succeeded. Goodbye, son. Dad. I fold the letter carefully, put it back in the envelope, close the box. Then I sit there in the silence and let myself feel everything I've been pushing down for weeks. Grief for a father I never knew, anger for a childhood that was manufactured, gratitude for the people who raised me, confusion for what any of this means, and underneath it all, something I didn't expect, relief. Because the threat is over. The people who wanted to hurt me are gone, and for the first time in my life, even though I didn't know I needed it, I'm actually safe. I need to tell you what happened next, but first, if this story's got you, show some love with a like and subscribe. I read every comment, especially love seeing where you're all from around the world. I drive back to Ohio. It's late when I arrive, nearly midnight, but the lights are on in the house. My mom's probably waiting up. She always does that when she knows I'm traveling. I knock, she answers in her robe clothes, eyes wide. Danny. Hey, Mom. She looks at me, really looks at me, searching for something in my expression. Can I come in? I ask. She steps aside. My dad's in the kitchen making tea. He looks up when he sees me. Couldn't sleep either, huh? He says. I set my bag down, pull out one of the files from the safe deposit box, one from 2008 when I was 7. I found these in a bank vault in Arlington. My father, Richard Breslin, he kept records, photos, notes, everything about my life. My mom takes the file carefully, opens it. Her eyes scan the contents. She looks up at me, surprised. I didn't know he was documenting this much, she says softly. He was watching me my whole life. Every school play, every soccer game, every deployment. He knew everything. My dad crosses his arms. We sent him reports, monthly updates, but the photos, that must have been his own surveillance. He saved my life in Afghanistan. There was an IED we were supposed to hit. Someone called in a tip to change our route. That was him, wasn't it? My dad nods slowly. Yeah, he had contacts, people who owed him favors. When your unit was in danger, he'd find ways to help without exposing the connection. I sit down at the kitchen table, the same table where I used to do homework, where we'd have dinner every night, where I'd carved my initials into the underside when I was 12. They never found out, or never said anything. I've been angry at him for giving me up, at you for lying to me, at the whole situation. You have every right to be, my mom says. But I've been thinking. I look at them both. He did what he thought he had to do, and you took a job and turned it into a family. That's not nothing.
My dad sits down across from me. We made our choice 25 years ago, Danny. We chose you, not because we had to, because we wanted to. I know, I say, and I mean it. I can see it now, in the way my mom's eyes water, in the tension in my dad's shoulders. They're scared. Scared I'm going to walk away. Scared they've lost me. I'm not saying I'm okay with everything, I continue. It's going to take time to process, but you're still my parents. That hasn't changed. My mom's face crumbles. She covers her mouth with her hand, trying not to cry. My dad reaches across the table, puts a hand on my shoulder. Thank you, he says quietly. We sit there for a while, the three of us, not saying much. My mom makes tea. My dad tells a story about a weird guy he ran into at the hardware store. I tell them about the trust fund, about the money Richard left me. What are you going to do with it? My mom asks. I don't know yet. Maybe invest it. Maybe use it for school when I'm done with the army. I've been thinking about getting a degree in something useful.
Your father would have liked that, my dad says. Richard, I mean. He always wanted you to have options. It's strange hearing them talk about him, like he was part of the family all along, just absent. Maybe he was. 3 months later, I'm standing in Arlington National Cemetery. Richard Breslin's grave is in Section 60, near other veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan. The headstone is simple: his name, rank, dates of service, dates of birth, and demise. I place a small American flag next to the stone. It's a clear day, warm for April. Cherry blossoms are blooming nearby. Hey, I say to the headstone, I'm Daniel, or Michael. I'm still figuring that out. I feel ridiculous talking to a grave, but I need to say this. I read your letters. I saw the files. I know what you did, all of it. A breeze rustles the trees overhead. I'm angry at you for giving me up, for not being there, for watching from a distance instead of just being my dad. The words catch in my throat. But I get it. I do. You made an impossible choice, and maybe it was the right one. I'm alive. I'm okay. I had a good childhood, even if it was built on lies. I crouch down, touch the cold marble of the headstone. Tom and Linda, they're good people. You were right about them. They loved me. They still do. So I guess you succeeded. I stand back up, look at the rows and rows of white headstones stretching across the cemetery. I don't know if I'll ever call you Dad. That name belongs to someone else now. But I want you to know I don't hate you. And maybe, someday, I'll understand why you did what you did. I pause. Thank you for keeping me safe, even if I never knew you were there. I stand there for a few more minutes, then walk back to my truck. 6 months later, I'm sitting in a college admissions office. I've decided to use the GI Bill and some of Richard's money to go to school. Criminal justice, maybe work for the Marshal's Service someday, help other families the way Tom and Linda helped me. It feels right. I've talked to my parents, Tom and Linda, every week since that night in their kitchen. We're working through things. It's not perfect. Some days I still feel angry about the lies, but most days I'm just grateful they were there. I'm still in the Army, still Sergeant Daniel Cross. That's the name on my uniform, my dog tags, my records. Maybe someday I'll legally change it to Michael Breslin. Maybe I won't. I'm still figuring out who I am. But here's what I know. My life was built on secrets. My identity was a fabrication. My father gave me up to save my life, and 2 strangers raised me as their own. And somehow, impossibly, I turned out okay. The truth didn't set me free. It just gave me something new to carry. A history I didn't know I had. A father I'll never meet. Questions that don't have easy answers. But I'm alive. I'm safe. And I'm learning that sometimes that's enough.